We've all watched Final Destination Bloodlines. I've done a review for it. Now let's get into the spoilers. Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel. We're going to get into the spoiler section of Final Destination Bloodlines. So if you have seen the movie, you're in the right place. If you haven't seen the movie and don't want to be spoiled, then you've came to the wrong video. However, if you haven't seen the movie but you don't mind spoilers, then continue watching. I think the reason that my non-spoiler review was so short was because you can't really review a movie like that without talking about spoilers. So there was a lot that I had to miss out so that people didn't get spoiled for the review. This is why I want to do a separate video talking about spoilers specifically. We'll start with Iris. I think Iris was a very interesting character before the premonition and even after, as she is an older lady. And what I love about her is she sacrificed her life, not physically yet, but she sacrificed a normal life so that her children could be safe. And what I mean by that is Iris being alive means that her children, Darlene and Howard, would still be alive, because with Iris surviving the Skyview premonition, she wasn't supposed to be alive, and because she wasn't supposed to be alive, her children shouldn't have been born, and then their children and so on should not have been born. So as long as Iris stays alive, Howard and Darlene, her children, will be safe. So Irene had to sacrifice a normal life for them. The sad thing is, they don't believe her. Howard definitely doesn't believe what she was saying. You can tell Darlene kind of half believes it, because Darlene also abandoned her children, Stephanie and Charlie, and they didn't know why. So I feel like Darlene kind of believed her mother, whereas Howard didn't. So the pattern that we follow throughout this film is slightly different from the previous movies, and that is the oldest, Howard in this instance, dies first, and then after Howard, it's his children. After his children are taken care of, it then goes on to Darlene, who is the second youngest in Iris's children, and then it goes after Darlene's children after that. It's confirmed as well that this pattern rings true to everyone that was on the Skyview. Now, we've got the biggest amount of survivors yet in a Final Destination franchise. Hundreds of people survived the Skyview because Iris warned them, and because she warned them, it then goes after all them, their families if they had children, and so on and so on. And that's a pattern that we are led to believe that the people in Final Destination 1 through to Final Destination 5 had family members on the Skyview, and that's why it's after them as well. So when you think of it, every character in the Final Destination franchise, right up until Bloodlines, are all connected because of what happened on the Skyview. I kind of wish we saw some characters from the previous movies, or even some survivors like Kimberly from the previous movies, so that we know that it's a kind of confirmation of them all being connected. But there is a connection there that we'll discuss. However, Bludworth talks about Kimberly by name, saying that she survived as well, and he gave her some tips. We then move on to Mr. Bludworth. We find out that Bludworth has a full name for a change, and also Bludworth was on the Skyview. He was that little kid at the beginning of the movie that Iris saved. So Iris and Bludworth had that connection with each other, and that even gives Bludworth some sort of bigger meaning throughout the entire franchise. Iris being a recluse, that's what she done after what happened, whereas Bludworth, he spoke to Iris for a few years back and forward about some ideas on what could stop the chain. But Bludworth didn't want to stop living his life. He wanted to live his life to the full and help people if they come to him for some advice. So that kind of gave Bludworth a bigger meaning throughout the franchise, but also with the words that Tony Todd said in that scene, it was beautifully done. I think they done Tony Todd a really good service throughout that scene, and it was very tasteful as well, and also very sad. Like I said, Bludworth mentions Kimberly by name as well. So he mentions to this family of two ways they could possibly survive. One would be to kill or be killed, take a life, like Final Destination 5, or the other way from Final Destination 2, where Kimberly successfully survived, and that is die and come back to life. Maybe someone could resuscitate you. That's the two ways that he mentions to the family. Since Iris mentioned that she was dying with cancer, cancer was taking her life, death was then signalling to other family members that their time is about to come, and it comes to Stephanie to tell her, you're about to die. And by doing that, what it does is it shows Iris's premonition to Stephanie over and over again. Let's quickly talk about one of Howard's children, Eric. Now, I said from my predictions that Eric would probably be someone who's maybe adopted. Could that mean that we find out that this boy is not a family member at all? Could it be that he was adopted? And the twist for him, not for the movie, but the twist for him that he is an adopted boy and he's not in danger of being killed. So anytime we see him coming to a close death or a near-death experience, he just doesn't die. And the audience are like, oh, why is he not dying? Well, it turns out he is adopted. He's not part of the family. That would be quite funny to see. Obviously sad for him. You all laughed. But who's laughing now?
Because that would be crazy.
After we find out that Eric is not part of that bloodline, I think they had fun with Eric's character because we knew he couldn't die in terms of death coming after him due to the bloodline. But Eric could still die if he was stupid, and he was stupid. His death was probably the best in the movie, probably the most agonizing one as well. In true Final Destination fashion, there's always some sort of twist at the end of the movie, and in this instance, there is a scene at the end of the film where Charlie saves Stephanie from drowning, and they think it's over because he thinks he brought her back from the dead, and so did I, in a way. But at the end of the movie, a doctor who is in the film, he mentions to Charlie that Stephanie probably didn't die at that point. He probably just brought her back from being unconscious, which is what tends to happen if someone almost drowns. So he didn't bring her back from the dead. He just woke her up. So because of that, death is still after Charlie and Stephanie. Earlier in the movie, Stephanie or Darlene, I can't remember which one it was, they dropped a penny from the Book of Survival. The penny in the Book of Survival comes from Iris, who took that penny off a child at the premonition stage. And the reason that she took it off the child is because that penny was like the chain reaction to the beginning of the downfall of the Skyview. So because she took that penny off the child, then that premonition didn't come true. So this penny, for the first time in a franchise, an item is powerful. An item can have the power to cause an accident, and it does in this movie. The penny was then picked up by an older lady who then drops it as well. It rolls onto a train track and then it derails a train and comes after Charlie and Stephanie, and then they die at the very end. The great thing about this newfound pattern of everyone being connected because of the Skyview is a great way to move forward with the franchise. Now, of course, they can start a new premonition with a new vision, with a new tree, but I think if you want to keep all the movies connected in some sort of way, it would make sense to have future families trying to survive death because of what happened back in the late 60s with Skyview. It might get boring eventually and you might want to move on to something else, but I think to keep it connected, that's the only way to move forward. However, I would understand if they want to do something different. Overall though, guys, like I said in my non-spoiler review, I absolutely loved this film. It might go down the pecking order over time if I watch it time and time again, but from first viewing, I thought it was excellent. So what are your thoughts on Final Destination Bloodlines, guys? The good thing about this video is you can be as spoilerific as you want down below. Let's talk about it. What was your best kill? Do you understand the connection with the premonitions from the first few movies? Everything you want to talk about, leave your comments and opinions down below, guys. And as always, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for subscribing.
I'll see you soon.
I'll be right back.
What are you waiting for, huh?
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Ever play in the cat?
Someone's in the